Hey, a lot of people have been asking me what I think the situation is going to be here in Peru, and especially in Cusco, with respect to these strikes that have been called for tomorrow or starting tomorrow, depending on where you are and what exactly has been called for there. I'm not seeing things being likely to approach anything on the order of what we saw in December, January, and February. And this is for a number of reasons. Number one, everybody's pretty clear that no matter how much people might want, and they do want, new elections, this regime is not interested in making that move forward. Neither the president nor Congress, neither of whom actually has an approval rating in the double digits. Another thing that people have been expressing a lot of concern about is that foreign governments have been providing material support and even troop support to Peru to put down any possible protests, whether they're peaceful or not, I suppose. And that's exactly where things went off the rails in December, is with outsized and excessive police response and military response, resulting in a lot of deaths. Unless there is an outsized police response, I think it is unlikely that anything will escalate to really major protests at this point in time. And one of the big reasons why is because everybody is really economically hurting, especially here in the south of Peru, where stuff was just beginning to reactivate tourism-wise, and 95% of reservations for the year 2023 have been canceled, and so tourism is way down, and what tourism there is mostly not bringing money into the local area in terms of giving money directly to people in Cusco who are from Cusco, as opposed to larger international corporations and the like. So everybody is really hurting for money. It's been really bad weather, which has taken a toll on crops. There's been a lot of stuff like that going on, and none of these things are conducive to, major long-term protest happening. And another thing is, those are supposed to be starting in less than 24 hours, and I'm sitting here right now in Plaza Tupac Amaru, which was a major staging area, and it is completely normal. So will there be strikes? Yes, there's going to be protests. At the same time, public transit drivers, the Union of Public Transit Drivers here in the city of Cusco has announced that it does not plan to stop work. Taxi drivers are reporting that they do not plan to stop work. Markets are not closing. I haven't seen anything looking like it is getting ready to board up. Even places that suffered vandalism in December, not seeing anything looking like anything other than a totally ordinary Tuesday afternoon. And so while I expect that we will see some marches, I don't expect to see any sort of major disruption. It could be like any sort of ordinary one-day strike where maybe there are some roadblocks, maybe it's hard to get around that specific day, but I'm not seeing any indicators that there's going to be anything really major happening here in Cusco, including, I'm not hearing it on the Quechua language radio stations and the call-in shows and all of that kind of stuff, which is where you normally would hear it, and in talking to people in all walks of life and so forth. The folks who normally have been supporting strike action at this point are like, look, we're not going to get this government out of power. There's no hope for new elections. We've got to hunker down and try and ride it out and hope it doesn't, screw us for decades, whatever happens with this government. So that is what I'm hearing from people who would normally be out there striking. So if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong, and I will freely admit it, but I'm just not seeing any evidence that there's anything really to worry about at this time. And I want to stress again that what there would be to worry about would be mainly disruptions to travel, and maybe some stores or banks or things like that being closed. It's not something that is likely to be wide-scale dangerous. Indeed, it was not dangerous for tourists or for anybody who was not actively engaged in protests in December, January, and February. So, there's that. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I guess we'll check back in tomorrow and see if I am right or wrong.